What a great way to end the match.
7K Dreamer please.
Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Today we'll be looking at Mythical Awakened Colt. She brings back armor destruction to the arena, so let's check out what that is. First, I'll talk about her passive. She increases her own physical attack by 30%, decreases defense of all enemies by 20%, and also protect the frontline allies from damage reflection. She's unaffected by Eileen's buff in that case, and the best thing about her is her enemy defense decrease. I'm using Awaken U too, so that's 30% defense reduction in total on my side of the team. My U has a patch here of level 8. Okay, so back to Colt. It's been a while since we have a hero who does defense reduction on the passive, and with a passive like that, it lets her synergize well with any team and not just physical teams. So this is her bottom skill. It deals 250% physical damage and also has 40% crit rate. As you can see, it actually halved the enemy's HP. It's an extremely powerful move. It also lands a debuff when you unlock her exclusive item and lets the enemies take up to 40% more damage up to 3 turns. So coupled with the multipliers, the crit and the lethal, this can really cripple the defense of the enemy on top of what she can cast with her top skill. So her top skill inflicts 350% physical damage to 3 enemies, has an additional lethal rate, and also has the armor destruction. So what is this armor destruction? It is basically what we had before the reboot with defense destruction. Now that they finally state that the defense of all armor becomes 0 while the debuff is active, it is an extremely powerful debuff that will be applied, and this isn't just fixed to the skill. It means that any skill landing on the enemy will hit very hard, and you just saw her awakened skill. It is insanely strong. I'm sure no one can withstand this for sure. I wonder why there's even a need to put the burn, because it seems that there's no need. It can definitely kill off the enemies without much issue. And you saw she just used her top skill. It also dealt a lot of damage. The crit and lethal took place, and that's why I feel that Colt as a whole is a very strong glass cannon. Yes, her bulk isn't that fantastic, and I'll talk about the equipment in a while. I just want to talk about her I just want to continue talking about her awakened skill. So you can actually counter her awakened skill with the hide accessory. Using the hide accessory, it makes it impossible for enemy Colts to target certain units on your team. Okay, and one more thing about her effect attack is that she paralyzes targets for 3 turns. So it is a very useful effect attack because paralysis is a status which not many players have resistance against, and once again, like I mentioned in my Skull and Noah video, heroes now seem to have a huge variety of status effects to make it very unpredictable and difficult to prepare against all statuses. So you can only choose what is best to resist against for different heroes. So now we'll talk about her equipment. My Colt is equipped with crit and lethal weapons to maximize her crazy damage output. Some of you may think of using speed on her because of her effect attack. I have 2 matches at the end of this video catered for this, so let's review that later. My main goal in these first few matches are to observe her damage, and as you can see, the crit and lethal damage really hits very hard on the enemy team, especially with all her debuffs, armor destruction, and also increasing the damage they take. And also with Mist. Mist is someone that also boosts crit and lethal rate for the entire team, so both of them go very well together. And as you saw again, her top skill did pretty good amount of damage and also landed the armor destruction. So let's just observe what the armor destruction does in the next skill. Hopefully it's an AoE skill, and yes it is. Oh my gosh. 500,000 damage. That is with armor destruction, and the bottom skill itself is already a super strong skill. So now she's using her awakened skill. He got blocked, but there's no way he could have lived that. I think he was already on 1 HP, the enemy Caesar. Anyway. So Now we're having a one-on-one match, and here is the paralysis. It has saved me a couple of times in the end of the matches, and it really takes luck for it to come out because my Colt is not built on speed, right? So effect attacks that happen are truly by luck, and in that case I was pretty lucky in the previous match. So for her armor, my Colt is given double HP. HP block is also viable. Colt is a serious glass cannon, so there's really a need to give her some bulk. I have actually tried counter on her and she dies way too easily. There was one time she died within the first 30 to 40 seconds of the match. I was pretty shocked. But then again, I was hit by Galidus, so I'm not sure if that's a reason. And then we have her jewel. I've given her increased awakening gauge, physical attack increase, and lethal rate, and this is also to boost her damage and get her to use her awaken skill ASAP to wipe out one enemy. Still, it seems like she takes a while to charge up her awakening gauge because she doesn't skill that frequently. And for the accessory, I've given her Wilful Ring and height. The height is because I want her to not be countered by enemies so that I can preserve her much longer, because imagine if she uses a skill and she gets countered, that's basically gonna be half her life gone. Okay, you might be thinking of using the Guardian Ring as well, like how Mist is equipped. I think that is also possible, but I have also tried that, and after it wears off, she basically dies very quickly as well. So I think Wilful Ring for now is something I'm gonna stay with. And she isn't in too much jeopardy until more players use heroes with AoE attacks. And then that's gonna be very difficult for height to sustain. She killed off the Mist over there with her single target awaken skill, which is great. Basically, she's just very strong. And for her traits, right, I've given her mainly resistances and skill use chance for the sake of the video, but I believe it is better to give her 3 different resistances such as burn, bleed, and freeze, or maybe against electrify. Yeah, and these are my thoughts for her. She really is a good unit. Her passive itself is very suitable for arena. So in the next 2 matches, these are my speed Colt builds. Okay, speed Colt. As you can see here, she paralyzes me straight away from the start, and unfortunately I was hoping she would target 2 different targets so she wouldn't paralyze just one target. And unfortunately again, the enemy Evan cleared up the paralysis here, so there was completely no effect. And I think that is also a problem when you have Evan on the enemy side of the field. Whether you use Mist or you use Colt who land debuffs on their effect attack, as long as Evan is there, he will cleanse it up immediately. So not too much of a effect. And I think Colt's effect attack can really shine if she counters, but as I said, when she is running her counter set, it makes her very frail. And I'm a bit worried about that because she won't even last long enough for her to use her skills, which kind of defeats the purpose because her skills have so much utility, right? And you really want her to cast that instead of just the paralysis. So you have to question whether it's really worth it to go for the paralysis instead. And then for her jewels, because you use her as the attack leader, you have to give her the speed jewel. So in that case, her crit and lethal rates are dropped. Of course, you can rely on Mist, but I gave her crit and lethal over here so that she can, do some damage if she does. And unfortunately, I lost in this match. Of course, the effect attack Dark Knight Jewel would be the best in this case so that you really boost the chance of her using effect attacks. And it's great that over here she lands the effect attack on Evan, so the Evan can't cleanse himself. And yes, basically I'm using her as a DPS with her in the back line. I haven't tried her in the 2-3 formation. Maybe you guys have tested her, can let me know what you guys are running on her and see how that goes. Some of you may definitely choose to run speed, that's totally fine, but I personally prefer her to run with crit and lethal. Also note that crit weapons give her increased debuff cast rate, so that will let her land her debuffs much better. The armor destruction debuff is not 100%, it's only 70%. So by giving her the crit rate weapon as well as debuff cast rate traits, maybe you can actually boost that to 80 to 90%. And because she's in the backline, so my Colt is actually not protected from reflect. That may be an issue, but so far so good. I think the Willful Ring is helping me counter that, so she's still able to live for a while in the match. Unfortunately, I didn't give her Electrify Resist, and in these two matches the enemy Eileen is just super active. And she blocks the Awakened skill to a very good degree, and I guess that is the first person that has lived the Awakened skill. Otherwise, you know, there's really no way. So unless you have a very tanky hero, it's very hard to withstand the Awakened skill, which also makes me wonder if some tanky units are viable right now. So that's all I have for Colt's review. I hope it helped showing you her builds. Do let me know what you think of Colt in the comments. Stay tuned for more guys. Thank you so much and see you.